is Doug DeMuro, and today I am here with the Peterson Museum in beautiful Santa Margarita, California, at an event sponsored by Pennzoil to drive some cool cars. We've rounded up some special supercars, mostly from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and we're gonna get behind the wheel and see what's faster on a runway drag strip. So with us today, we have a Porsche 930 and a RUF CTR Yellowbird versus a Dodge Viper ACR, a Ferrari F40, and an Acura NSX. Now let's hear some more about these cool cars. Introduced in 1987, the RUF CTR features a highly pumped version of Porsche's 3.2-liter flat six, combined with a roll cage, an upgraded suspension and braking system, a fully customized 5-speed transmission, and several unique parts and body pieces. CTR stands for Group C Turbo Run. It's based on a 1987 911 Carrera 3.2, with a lower weight and drag coefficient compared to the 930, which was Porsche's factory turbocharged version of their 911. The introduction of many aluminum parts allowed RUF to drop the weight of the CTR by another 422 pounds. Among other engine modifications, they brought the total displacement from 3.2 to 3.4 liters by boring the cylinders out to 98 millimeters, and they added a fuel injection system borrowed from the Porsche 962. Twin turbochargers and twin intercoolers bring the engine's total output to 463 horsepower and 408 pound-feet of torque, giving the CTR a 0-60 time of 3.6 seconds and a top speed of 210 miles an hour, making it the fastest production car of its time. RUF officially produced only 29 units. The chassis were bought directly from Porsche, and they were sold for $142,000 each in 1987. The American Club Racing variant of the Dodge Viper was first introduced as a package on the 1999 Viper GTS. It made a return for the second generation of Viper, where it was put through its paces at the Nürburgring, clocking a record time of 7 minutes and 22.1 seconds. It was America's take on the extreme track machine, sporting a naturally aspirated V10 putting out 600 horsepower and 560 pound-feet of torque that came paired with exclusively a manual transmission. This snake was engineered for the track, so its straight-line speed will be awesome, but the massive rear wing will for sure take a few miles per hour off the top speed down the drag strip.
I'll hit second this time.
I hope.
I missed second like 4 times.
I know, man. I know. I want to see everything she's got. but you it up last.
Okay, that was interesting, and you see some of the problems and variables that are introduced when you're running older manual transmission cars. The ACR had trouble hooking up off the line and had some bad starts. The Yellowbird looks like it missed a shift at some point going down the road, and that's a problem. You introduce all these variables to these runs, and it's actually not just as easy as point the cars next to each other, send them out, and see what happens. There's a lot of different stuff that could happen versus, say, just drag racing a Tesla Plaid where you step on the throttle and it goes. And so that was kind of an interesting run. It was sort of give and take. I'm still not even sure exactly which car is faster because it didn't really seem like we got a really clean run out of either car both times, which is a reality of drag racing sometimes. Introduced in 1987 and produced through 1992, the F40 was a mid-engine, rear-wheel drive legend developed with the goal of replacing the 288 GTO and meant to celebrate Ferrari's 40th anniversary. With a total production run of 1,315 units costing $400,000 each in 1987, it was also the very last car to be personally approved by Enzo Ferrari himself. Ferrari had the deliberate goal of making the F40 a fast and Spartan supercar for those drivers who pursued nothing but sheer performance. It was developed using 5 GTO Evoluzione dropouts from the 1986 Group B FIA races and was required to be completed in only 11 months because Enzo intended to present it in June of 1987. The Pininfarina-designed body is made of carbon fiber and Kevlar and aluminum to guarantee rigidity and low weight, which is further decreased by lightweight plastic windows and a windshield. Cooling was important as the forced induction engine generated a great deal of heat. As a consequence, the car was somewhat like an open-wheeled racing car, but with a body. It had a partial undertray to smooth airflow beneath the radiator, front section, and cabin, and a second one with diffusers behind the engine, but the engine bay itself was not sealed. All F40s left the Ferrari factory exclusively in red, Rosso Corsa. Powered by a 2.9-liter twin-turbo V8, it generates 471 horsepower and 426 pound-feet of torque, and it boasts a 0-60 time of 4.2 seconds with a top speed of 197 miles an hour. was the big race of the day. Now, F40 versus the Yellowbird. Back in the day, there was a big controversy between these two cars for the title of the fastest car in the world, but that was always about top speed, not acceleration or drag racing times. Nobody's ever really drag raced those two cars, at least that I know of. And the answer here today is that the RUF is far, far, far faster. Now, this could be a component of don't really want to push the F40 too far off the line, but you can clearly see as the cars go down the run, the RUF looks like it's still gaining on the F40, even after the launch is all taken out of the equation. It seems to me that the RUF is a lot faster, and just visually watching the cars warm up at the start of the day, the RUF seemed like it was going to be the fastest car here, and it has taken down the F40. This isn't just any Porsche 930. This 930 is the first turbo ever sold in the US, documented by the Porsche Museum in Stuttgart. 930s numbered 11 through 14 were press demonstration models. This one is number 15 in a lifelong Los Angeles car. Originally delivered to Bob Smith Porsche in Hollywood and rumored to have been ordered by actor Robert Redford, who never took delivery of the car, the iconic flat-six engine was pushed to 282 horsepower and 243 pound-feet of torque, giving it a top speed of 157 miles an hour and offering one of the greatest driving experiences of its time. The experience was so great that Porsche offered classes on car control when the turbo boost hit to those who purchased a 930. The first mid-engine, rear-wheel drive 3-liter V6 Honda manufactured between 1990 and 2005, and the very first mass-produced car with an all-aluminum body, the NSX was born from the HPX Honda Pininfarina Experimental in 1984 with the objective of exceeding the performance of V8 Ferraris of the time at a much lower price point. The acronym NSX stands for New Sports Car Unknown World, with X being the mathematical symbol for an unknown value. The project, which was bolstered by the enthusiasm for Honda's return to F1 in 1983, pushed their R&D department's efforts towards creating a supercar which had the goal of providing power-to-weight and wheelbase-to-weight ratios that were close to those of F1 machines rather than street performance cars. The NSX inspired the designer of the McLaren F1, Gordon Murray, who was blown away by the performance and handling provided by the NSX chassis. The aerodynamic design of the NSX was inspired by a combination of elements from an F-16 fighter jet to input from F1 legend Ayrton Senna. The NSX finally launched in 1989 at the Chicago Auto Show with a 5-speed manual and a VTEC engine, giving it 270 horsepower, 210 pound-feet of torque, and a max speed of around 170 miles an hour. In 1997, the NSX received a performance upgrade through the introduction of a 3.2-liter V6, bringing it up to 290 horsepower and 224 pound-feet of torque.
You don't want to go? No chance with a turbo. Can't compete with the dang turbos.
All right, that was an interesting race. Two cars from totally different eras. The 911 Turbo is one of the very original ones sold here in the United States, 76, 77. That NSX is sort of the middle of the first gen, so that's a 96, I think. NSX-T, that's 20 years apart. So you're not really sure what's gonna happen here. The NSX is an easy car to drive, but at the end of the day, that Porsche has low weight, and so you see the result. The Porsche handily beats the NSX. Not really exactly what I thought would happen. I thought they'd be closer together, but they just weren't. So, Ferrari F40 versus Porsche 930. We forgot to record this one at the racetrack, so I am talking about it from my bedroom. What I remember is the 930 got a better start because the driver was willing to hammer on it at the start, and the F40 driver was a little more cautious. But once it got going and the F40 really got into it, it came back and just kind of destroyed the 930. Not really a surprise, of course. The 930 being a late 70s car doesn't have anywhere near as much power. The F40 was like a mega ultra supercar. The 930 was just like a great sports car. And so it's no real surprise that the F40 trounced it. And I think it would have been even a bigger gap if the F40 had really pushed it from the start. But most F40 owners aren't really going to want to do that, which makes sense.
Okay.
All right, no real surprise here what happened. These are two Porsches, essentially, from about the same era, but of course the roof has been heavily modified, changed from its status as a standard Porsche. So the roof killed it. That was not a surprise at all. In fact, the roof killed it by so much that there was a second run done where the Porsche had like a flying start, and another run where the Porsche was given a head start, and only then, with a handicap, was there some chance the Porsche had to be able to catch up to the roof. Otherwise, it was a decisive victory. So there you have it, some amazing 1970s, 80s, and 90s exotic cars all racing against each other, some amazing runs, and it was really cool to actually see these cars driving fast. You so rarely get to do that. Thank you for watching. Thank you Pennzoil for sponsoring this wonderful, ridiculous event, and be sure to like and subscribe to the Peterson Museum YouTube channel for more great stuff coming up.